I'm Joan Nichols, back with Representative Tom Tillberry from District 51B. Welcome back to Capitol Voice.
Thank you. Good to see you again.
Always good to see you. And I guess we're going to talk about the #1 agenda of this session, which is jobs.
Yes, like I said last time, we wanted to make sure we talked more about jobs, because one of the things that people are forgetting about is that transportation bill that we passed and overrode the governor with a veto, or overrode the veto. We're starting to see about 30,000 jobs
every year.
Every year, and just because of that bill alone. And so I try to think, what would it have been like had we not passed that?
Yes.
I mean, at this point in time, what would that have been like had we not had some foresight and so on and put that together? And so I think that's something I look back at and say, you know, even though a lot of people say, oh, don't do this, don't do that, my district didn't really get on me for that. They supported it.
The Minnesota Department of Education has said this is creating more jobs than in the last decade.
Now, Department of Transportation, is that what you said? Okay.
Did I say?
I think you said education, but
can we? Okay.
But that's all right, because we can work with that. Because I like education too.
I know you do.
That's one of the things I always like to talk about.
But let's go back to transportation.
Yeah, I do want to just mention that was a big deal, and it's allowing us to see that today.
How does that work with the legislation, the bonding bill and the jobs bill that you've passed this year?
Well, we also passed another jobs bill too. Remember, we passed that bonding bill that we talked about earlier. Originally, what was it, about $685 million that was put back into things. But then there's also the second jobs bill that we created, and what that did for us is it allowed what we call TIF districts. Think of a tax deal that we allow cities to be able to build some things. Now they do add some onto property taxes, but when you think of the benefits of what they get for it, it's pretty good. And
what are some of the benefits?
Well, like, well, let's just say someone comes in and says, we need to have this area, like around our North Star Rail happened to be a blighted district, so they had a tax increment financing district there. So eventually, if people want to come in and build new things, that can happen. So sometimes it's building some things. It's all got to be shovel ready. It's all got to be ready to go for us. And these are districts that the cities come in and say, these are things that we need. These are necessary. These are items that are a go in our community. And so that's what they did, is they brought in and testifiers and they said, these are the types of things that can work for us. So maybe it's a wastewater treatment plant or something like that that needs to be built. So these are things that have to be done at some point. Why not do them when the interest is low, as far as interest rates? And also, why not do it to produce the jobs that we need?
So the bonding bill and the second jobs bill, how many jobs are they estimated to be creating for Minnesotans?
I think that we're looking at somewhere between 15 to 20,000 altogether is what I think we're looking at for the second jobs bill. But then you add into the regular bonding bill that we passed, you know, 30,000 a year. So we should be doing pretty well with that. Hopefully that'll work into that picture.
And just in time to make the best of the up-and-coming construction season.
Right, which we all love to see, you know, that construction season. But I think I'm looking at it a little bit different this time around when I go travel and see construction. I'm looking at it like we really need the jobs. And,
people are working. You
know, and this is very visible.
Well, what else we really need this year? It's a census year. So is there any words of encouragement you want to say to folks in your community?
Well, I think we have to fill out the census. If we don't, I really don't understand why people don't. I know my wife and I filled it out just, whenever it first came out. We looked at the questions and I tried to think, these are basic questions that people have this information anyway. I mean, you can get this information just about anywhere, but if you fill this out within a couple of minutes, it makes a huge difference in funding, especially with Minnesota at risk of losing a seat. Losing a seat in the federal government, that's a huge chunk. That means we get one less vote to do the things that we need back home.
Okay, this is Representative Tom Tillberry. Thank you for being on Capitol Voice.
Yeah, thank you.
We'll talk again in a couple of weeks.